welcome to another episode of Let's Catch Up with Sherani. I'm here today with my celebrity friend, my new friend, Miss Emmy Michelle Joseph. Emmy, say hi to our family.
Oi, family.
So today, Emmy and I were speaking about teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yes. And here's your daughter now. Mwah. Thank you. You see, Auntie gets some of the love as well. All right, so we're speaking about teenage pregnancy.
Yes.
And Emmy, one of the things that surprised me when I saw your beautiful daughter, I was shocked that you are her mom because you look so much like sisters.
Yeah.
And that is how we got into this discussion about teenage pregnancy. And we thought that maybe we could come today and share with our family your story, and perhaps it will deter someone from getting pregnant, prematurely. Okay, so how old were you, Emmy, when you got pregnant?
When I got pregnant, I was 17 going into 18.
17 going into 18.
Yeah, when I finally found out I was 18 years old.
Now, were you in school at the time?
No, I had recently graduated from secondary school. So no, I was out of school doing job training at the time.
So fresh out of school, you're doing job training, you're 17 years old, and you found out you were pregnant. What started happening to your body? Like, what happened to make you feel like, there's a possibility that I'm pregnant? What happened?
The biggest thing that happened what triggered the thought of probably pregnancy was just the missed period. So for me, that's
You missed your monthly cycle.
Yes. So 1 month was missing, then it came into 2 months. So I was like, no, something is up.
Let me tell you, as a teenager,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you see those
Yeah.
periods. All right. So when we were speaking, you were saying that your daddy had passed, and you were living. It was just you and your mom, really. What did your mother say when you told her that you were pregnant?
Well, to start, I was very anxious.
To tell her you were
To
anxious.
tell her that I was pregnant, so I woke up pretty early. I'm not an early waker, if I could say it that way. But I was up pretty early. I was dressed and ready for
The late sleeper became an early riser.
Yes, I was ready. My bag was prepped. And then,
Excuse me, where was your bag? Because you assumed that she would throw you out.
No, I had an extra set of clothes just in case that was my last day. It was already in my work bag.
I don't understand. I mean, what do you mean you had a backpack in case it was your last day?
Because you never know how somebody would react.
Oh, you mean in case she asked you to leave the home?
Yes.
Wow.
I have a loving mom, but I just did not know how it would have been received. So I went downstairs to her. She normally bakes. She was a baker and a cook at the time. So I went downstairs to her and I was like, Mommy, I think I'm pregnant. And she said, what did you say? I said, I think I'm pregnant. She looked at me and she was like, well, okay, you need to get to work. Continue to prepare yourself. Go to work. These things happen. She gave me a hug. I had my daughter at 18. And she told me we'll speak about it when I get back with my other siblings. And that was it for that time.
Let me tell you something. As you're speaking the story now, which happened 16 years ago. 17 years ago. I'm in panic. I don't know. I'm in panic as a woman to woman. I'm like, imagine getting pregnant that young and then saying that to your mom. No, what about the dad, the child's father? What did he say when you told him that you were pregnant?
Well, when I told him that I thought that I was pregnant, first thing that he said was, I don't usually have breakfast on time and I don't drink enough tea, so most likely I was missing a period because I didn't drink tea.
Because of the way you were eating.
Yes.
Right. No, what was his reaction when it was confirmed to him that even though you were not eating on time, you were still pregnant? What was his reaction then?
Well, I think he was lost for words, just like anybody would be. He's a few years older than me, probably 4 or so. So he was working, so he would figure out his way.
Yes.
But he was anxious because his first child.
Of course, and you were young people.
We were both young, so we both did not know what to do at that time. But he was like, well, we'll do what we have to do.
Do what you have to do. So you were one of the ones where he sort of stuck around. Your mommy did not put you out, thank God, and he stuck around. Now, I know also that you were raised in a church family.
Yes.
How did your church family accept, or how did they react to this news that you were with child?
When it came to the church did what they had to do in terms of how do I say? They came out with, oh, we're here to support. We're here to support, so we'll give you the gifts and the stuff. Like I got a package of love, like they would like to call it. But the reactions to it was not it. I didn't feel love. I felt that
Did you feel stigmatized?
Of course, I felt placed in a corner that was off the bat. So they went through the probationary periods. And
what's the probationary period?
Oh Lord, that's a story by itself. Where if you do something wrong, you would have to be set aside for a few months. So I went through that, the setting aside, and you would expect the church would be the place where
you would find the most love and understanding,
and
because half of the church women had the children when they're 16, 17, 15.
Exactly.
When you speak to old people, they would always tell you, oh, I had my first child when I'm 15 and this and that. My mother got pregnant with me at age 15 and I was born when she was 16. May she rest in peace. I, on the other hand, I got pregnant at 29, planned the pregnancy, and gave birth almost when I was 30. Up to now, I catch myself and I still have all the baby weight, but
yeah. But
the church people.
It was not nice. Like you would hear the snickering at the back. You would hear look what and I mean, not being pompous or not being full of myself, but being aware of who I am.
Yes.
I was this pretty little thing.
You're still a pretty little thing.
Right? This pretty little thing. And people tend to say this thing like, the vicious ones. The vicious
They like it.
It shows, it comes out.
Yeah, she claims she all that and look what happened.
And it was not that for me. It was a young girl experimenting in things that she did not understand.
Of
and
course.
Then, I mean, if I understood, if I was that vicious, I would probably think of wearing a condom, going and look for the contraceptive in family planning where it's free. Right?
Exactly. Let me support you and say this. Hey, not that I'm supporting young people getting pregnant. I do not support that at all. I just said I got my child when I was almost 30 and I still didn't catch myself. I still have on the baby weight. So I'm not supporting young people getting pregnant, but I'm saying that when young people are pregnant, right, we're not supposed to treat them like that, because it's funny because no one spoke to me, but I just knew that I didn't want to have a baby. So I walked into family planning and asked and said, hey, this is my personality, I want to have sex soon, so I want to be able to not get pregnant. Yeah. And the nurses thought it was so funny. They said, we never met anybody like you. They put me on the pill. In fact, I said, I want something to back this up. And at the time, they had these tablets that you insert into your flower garden, and it would foam, so it would trap the sperm. So I had a double protection when I started. And I walked in and asked for that, but not a lot of young people do that because it's embarrassing. Yeah. That is why the nurses were so shocked when I walked in. And I was on the pill for probably 10 or a little bit more years before I came off when I planned to have my son. So, and that's not the story for most young people. So I feel you when you say they were snickering in the back of the church. Mm-hmm. All right.
And it wasn't just the church. It was community. It was everything, because you're growing up in a small community, so everybody looking. They had those you would hear the comments like, "That's what you did, your mother," and thank goodness, my mother, my sister, they were strong. So when you would hear those comments, one told my mother that in front of me, and she's like, "What did she do to me? What did Emmy do to me?
Wow.
What is wrong? Did she kill me? Did she kill somebody?
Exactly.
What really is wrong? She's pregnant. She's going to do what she has to do, and that's it."
And your daughter is 16, and I see your eyes tearing. I see your eyes filling with tears. And I want to pause to say that it is very important. We speak to our children so that they know to wait, right? To wait. But also in the event of that, we are a bit more compassionate as a society, as a people, as a church. Because pregnancy is not easy. When you're pregnant, when you're pregnant, your emotions are all over the place.
Yeah.
So to have that added stress and pressure. I could only imagine what a young girl. You said how old were you?
I was 18, going through the pregnancy.
I could only imagine how you felt. And you were 18, it's not even like you were 15 like my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
It was confusing. But like you said, mentally it took a toll on me.
It took a toll on you mentally, yes.
When I was there trying to work, trying to make sure that I didn't ask anybody for anything, that I didn't want anybody to feel like I was burden my parents, burden my siblings. So I would work and work and work, and I did what I had with what I had and what I got.
Right.
But on the inside,
you were tearing up. Oh.
Yeah, I was rotting, because how do you come out and say that, look, this is me, I got pregnant, and I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. So you cannot say these things, because people look at you like, you look for it. So
exactly, so you can't get support, right?
There is no support to protect your mental well-being.
How was the pregnancy physically on your body, on your young body?
Physically, my body took it well, right? So I carried a small belly for most of the pregnancy until afterwards it got bigger.
Can I say something? I mean, women like you make me really upset, because when I was pregnant, I was black like this wig.
Oh my God.
I was black like this wig. I was broad like this table. I did not, in fact, from 3 months pregnant, I looked like I was 9 months.
Oh my God.
And I didn't see my feet for about 6 months. It was not good. It was a rough, the joy was at the end of the rainbow, because my son, and still today, thank God, is a beautiful boy, and he was a beautiful baby. But let me tell you, my pregnancy, my nose had turned into a netball skirt.
Oh,
it starts small at the waist and then it opened. So that was my nose. My lips I already have big lips, and my lips were really big. Let me tell you, I'm laughing now, it was a planned pregnancy. I was happy to be pregnant. It was the happiest time of my life. I was so happy to be pregnant, but I looked a mess. In fact, the worst part of my pregnancy, a man walked into my office one day and said, "Good morning. Is Sherani working today?"
Oh my God. He couldn't see you.
For a short while, I had confusion whether or not to tell him, "No, she's not here." But I said, "It's me." And I felt really, really bad.
Yeah.
But as soon as the baby came out, my body snapped back.
Yeah.
So I went back to work, and they had changed management. And the manager said, "Can I help you?" He had seen me. And I went back looking like the queen that I am. And he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "I'm Sherani, I'm back to work. Where do we start? What's up?" And you could see he was pleasantly surprised. He was impressed, like, okay, so she's not a big, fat, black. Whatever she saw me do. Anyway, so when women like you say, "Oh, my pregnancy, my body was fine, I had a small belly," it upsets me. And I'm saying this because I want some of you young people to know that was Emmy's experience, but everybody has a different experience. Some people get thrown out of their parents' home. They have no one to support them. As much as the church people, she said, was snickering, sometimes church is all you have, so they can turn their back on you. Society is brutal regardless. Even if you're old enough to have a child, society is brutal. You're either too young to have the baby, or you took all of the money or something. So, don't think that because her sound like it was a walk in the park physically, that it's going to be the same for you. And also, she also said that mentally she was dying inside. So that's another challenge that you have to face as a pregnant woman. What about financially? How did you manage? You have your little job. How did you manage?
Well, I thank God that during that time, since I said I thank God, it was only by the grace of God.
Yes, by God's grace.
Right? That's the only way. But I thank God that whatever I got, whatever little I got from my salary, whatever little my partner at the time got, it came together. We did what we had to. We did the doctor's visits on time every time. We got the meds. But it's not to say that, it was pleasant for her at 18, so let me go and do it. No. That time and this time is not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same at all. It might seem like a walk in the park, but your body is literally speaking to you and telling you, "Hey, you doing this, you're going to pop out this child at any time. You have a human that you're responsible for. All of those thoughts going into your head, and it's not like you sit there and say, "Let me think of this." Mm-hmm. Your body, your mind starts preparing you for it. So you could deal with it in any way, but either way, it will have a toll on you. It's nothing nice. It's nothing easy because you have to feed this person. You have to send them to school. You have to think of 100 years down the line.
So you have to take care of your person.
Yes.
And you still have to take care of another human being who you're responsible for, who's looking to you for everything. And I mean, and you had a supportive mother. And I want to say to that regard that even though, as old people would say, I took my time and had my child, it was and has been and sometimes still is hard for me.
Yeah.
And my son has a father who loves him, but it's still hard for me. So I remember there were times when he would, when they're in school, mommy teacher said, bring a box of juice. Mommy teacher said, we have to donate this. Mommy teacher said, they need shoes, they need clothes, skincare, hair care, yeah. And I remember there were times my son said, oh, mom, I need $20 to go to school tomorrow for a field trip. Yeah. And I would say, okay, hon. And I would turn and walk away and tears would be streaming down my eyes. Yeah. Because sometimes I either didn't have the $20 or it was my last $20. Yes. And I didn't want him to see that because, he's my responsibility. And I planned this child. Yeah. I'm married. So it's difficult. So when you're planning to do this, you must at least try to have, of course, a child is a blessing.
It is always a blessing.
It's always a blessing. We saw your beautiful daughter come in and gave you some love. When you came home this morning, you looked just like sisters. I was trying to figure out which one is the mommy. But there's some real hardship that comes with getting pregnant as a teenager. Now, what about the night time when she was born? Was she a child that would sleep through the night, or was she up? Because I hear a lot of young people complain about they don't get enough sleep. They have to go to work. They have to get up at night. They have to breastfeed every 3 hours. How was your experience with that?
I think the biggest part of when I got depressed was during that time. So from day one when I had it was confusing for me because right now, before I slept alone or if I slept by my mother or my sister, I chose. Now I have this little person and I will be sleeping and wake up in panic because I feel something touching me. And
so you're still a child yourself?
Yes.
And you want to know who in the bed?
Yes, I feel this thing touching me and I would panic. It was terrible. And you were embarrassed. I was embarrassed at the time to say that, I cannot take on this child because I'm seeing
stress out with this child.
Every hour in the clock, I would wake up 1 o'clock, 2 seconds, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I would see the hours go by. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would see the hours, and it was terribly difficult.
And I feel you with that. Let me share my experience with that as well, because we're talking about pregnancy, and at any age there's challenges. My son, I don't know, it's something he did purposely. I feel like if he was a newborn, he would be up all night and he would sleep all day. Let me tell you something. I remember, and he was a breast man, in saying this about a titty man. He always wanted to be on the breast. Even if he's not feeding, he just wanted to be on the breast. So there with a child in my hand, they are switching to that, and I'm just there, and I don't know. And are we talking around because big woman thing? Yes. The more you breastfeed, the more milk comes. Yes. So there were times my breast was so huge, the child belly done full, but I got to get rid of all this milk. And they're heavy and it's irritated, so I'm pumping the breast. Sometimes my husband pumping one breast, I pumping the other breast, and so even though I was 29, it was hard. I'm like, I remember one day, to be okay, we were talking about when you're 40. So the child would be up all night. I remember one night I was so stressed out, I went and I woke up his father and I gave him one elbow. Come help me with your child, you're not sleeping, because I was just so tired. Mind you, I adored this child. I planned this child. I was happy to have this child. Yeah. But he was not sleeping. No, and he used to annoy me. As soon as around 7, 8 o'clock, he just cuddled down his little self and he go to sleep. And he sleep for hours. When it's time now for me to wash his clothes, do the formula, I'm like, what?
But it's funny that you said you had your husband there.
Only, and none of us ever had a child, so it was, and we had no help, so it was tough.
But it was different for me.
One day I walked away. He was out working or whatever. I was home with the baby. I bade him, put him in the bed, and I walked away. I remember just feeling overwhelmed, and I just walked away. I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't want to do anything, and I walked away. And an old lady said, "I don't know. You got to respect these old people, you know." An old lady said, "Where you going? Where's the baby?" And then I said, "In the house, and he wants to leave, but I'm so tired." She said, "Go back in the house and look after your child." And it's funny because I was a grown woman. I was 30 by then. And I turned around and I just walked back to the house and I went and I sat down. The baby was sleeping.
Yeah.
In that, I don't know. I walked away. I was like, okay, I live in this life. And that old lady, she was next door. I could see it like it was yesterday. She said, "Go back and look after your child." God sent her because I just couldn't take it. So I feel you when you say you had mental anguish when that child at night every hour, you see every hour.
Well, yes. I had a husband lying beside you. I had me and this child. Yes, it's true. I was in the household with my siblings and them, but it was really my child, and I took the responsibility as my own. Yes. I made sure not to ask for help, not to. I never wanted me or my child to be a burden to anybody. So, and I mean, I'm young, I'm still growing up in a Christian family, so you would understand that, you know, boyfriends don't sleep over. There is nothing like that. So, and having a young partner also, he wasn't the one who wanted to be person topmost in that child's life. So, everything that had to be done for that child between 0 to 16
depended on you.
It was me.
So it was a lot.
It was a lot. I remember, if I may share somebody's story, not saying their name or anything. Of course. But I remember speaking to a young lady once, and she was like, "Oh, you really make this having a child early thing look easy." So I watched her. And I allowed her to speak. So she was a child being born from a mother who had an early child, and she was like, you know, my mother didn't do this and didn't do that. And I had to correct her quickly. And I told her, having a child as a teenager is nothing easy. And I told her, not because I didn't do it the way somebody else would, means that I'm any better than them. Because you don't know the thoughts that I had. I had strength. I had courage for Jesus Christ. Amen. And Amen. Let's just make this clear. I don't equate the behavior of church folk or religious people to anything doing with God. God is real, He's alive, and He's there. He comforts you. And Amen. That was my strength during that time. Good. The comfort of God. I'm not in any way saying God is not God. The actions of people are the actions of people. Of course. And choices. I still do not hold anything against them. Right. Because this was my journey. Of course. And they were there for a reason. They helped me in some way, whether negative or positive, grow to the person that I was. But I had to tell her that you cannot hold anything against anybody for the way that they deal with having a child early. Which is why my advice to any young person, my issue was that I didn't have sufficient self-confidence, strangely enough. I didn't have self-confidence. I didn't have enough self-esteem for me to choose for myself. So that I could choose when I want to have sex, if I want to have sex, and whether or not I want to do this or do that. If I was matured enough mentally, I would know that you could say to somebody that, yeah, like you, yeah, this like each other thing is nice. Oh my gosh. But I choose not to have sex. And that is a confidence thing. And I support that thing. Point. I learned it too late, I would say, but not too late, because I love my daughter. I would not change a thing. I would not change a thing. Oh my God, what you said is so important. When I started, I was doing it for the guy. Yes. Because he expected it. It wasn't good. I did not enjoy it. I thought, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do because I'm in the relationship. Honestly, I wish, and I had self-confidence. I was, but I still felt like, okay, well, he's my boyfriend and this and that. So why not? So I'm supposed to do it. But if I knew then what I know now,
I would have waited much longer.
Yes.
Because, and I said it on a previous show, sex, that physical act, it comes with great consequence and great responsibility.
Yeah.
And even as a grown person, it's hard. So imagine a young girl. So as you said that, I said, no, I know you love your daughter. I love your daughter too, because she's a lazy little cutie patootie. But do you find that sometimes, because I remember in our pre-interview you were saying that when you first had her, you were not focused on loving her. You said this was a project. Let's talk about that. Young people need to hear this.
Yeah, so when I had my daughter, God knows my heart. I
of
love her deep down.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's my heart. If you could have seen my heart, it's her.
Yes.
Right? But having her became more of a duty.
Yes.
It became more of a duty than it was just being a nurturer.
It almost sounds like a chore.
It was
like, this is a new thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and being the kind of person I am goal oriented. I want to make sure.
Are you a Virgo? You're September?
I am very much a Virgo.
Oh, me too. I am very goal oriented.
I seek the goals. I find the goals. I pursue these goals.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
So I saw that as, I'm going to show them. I'm going to be this woman. My daughter is going to be the best. I'm going to provide for her. Father, no father, mother, no mother. I'm providing for
I hear you. Right? I understand you. Yes.
But what came out of that, where I had a wake-up call, was when I woke up out of depression, if I could call it that. Mm-hmm. So after about maybe when she was around 6 or 7.
6 or 7 years old.
Yes.
Right.
I for some reason I just started looking back in my brain, like just going through my brain photos, and I completely forgot the entire process between 0 to 7.
Because 0 to 7, you were on autopilot.
Yes.
I'm gonna feed the baby, clothe the baby, do this, do that, do that.
Yes.
You were on autopilot.
Pick her up, do this, do that, get her stuff, do whatever. Right. So I lost the best time with my daughter, and I am saying it, I'm trying not to tear up. But there was
I see the tears in your eyes already. I see the tears in your eyes. Yeah.
These things helped me collect because I had a community. She was raised by a community of people. I thank God for the stars that came into my life during that time. Right? Mm-hmm. But when I spoke to my mother and I was crying, I was saying, Mommy, I don't remember a lot about Sienna during that time when I felt like I lost. Right? She came and she told me, but Emmy, you did this and you did that and you did this and you did that and you had your child, and sometimes I would look at you and wonder why you're not reaching out for help. But she herself, being the woman that she was, she knew what I was doing. She understood what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So she allowed me. But just to change it a bit and to advise mothers, because there are also mothers who have children, who make children early. The mothers in these situations need to understand that yes, maybe you might have gone through it. Yes, probably you're not happy with the situation. But there are things people don't say. And that's what happens to people. That's what causes people to go into extreme anxiety and depression. They don't say a lot. So even if you think that, I know my daughter has this and I know she's being strong or I know she's being weak, sometimes just coming out and saying, daughter, do you need me? Or daughter, allow me. Sometimes we need to put that hand out as Black Caribbean people.
Yes, because we do not take mental health issues seriously in the Caribbean, and that's one of the shows we have coming up. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So the older women would look at you doing what you have to do, because you, just like you said, they told you, go and take care of your child. But they don't also understand. She did not dress why I walked away. Exactly. They don't understand that you also have those days where you need somebody to say, Emmy, get away. I'll take care of this child. Just go to
there's
town.
postpartum depression.
Go to town, do something. But you would have years of that depression without knowing. And like I said, when I woke up out of it, I went into a different cycle of it because I was like, this is where I got myself.
Wow.
Right? Mm-hmm. But for me, because I had that support, because I had God in my life, because I had a lot of people who loved me, yes. I realized there were a lot more people who loved me than I knew. But because I had that support system, I was able to do an okay job. But it is no joke. Like, not because I was able to do it for somebody to look at this video and say, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. Because we all have different degrees of strength.
Of course,
We
because
all have
I'm sorry, go on.
degrees, sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. We all have varying degrees of strength. So it might look easy for someone,
It's not.
and it's not. And you might see somebody falling along the way and be like, what kind of mother is that?
They don't know.
But
They
you
don't know.
understand.
You can't judge me unless you walk a day in my shoe. Because everything you're saying it's so on point. Because two different ends of the spectrum. I was married, I had a baby, but and I love it, and I was glad, and I was I have a baby, but my life changed significantly before I had the baby. Every day I love to exercise. I was running on the Southeast Peninsula. That's in St. Kitts where I'm from. Sweet Sugar City, St. Kitts.
Yeah.
I was I was running on the Southeast Peninsula. I was hanging out at Shiggity Shack with my friends. I had a strong church family. You know, my friends would call me and say, Sherani, what you doing? I remember one weekend I got paid and I bought 6 outfits with the matching shoes, and I brought them home because I think, okay, if I go here, I need this outfit. You know, I'm young.
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother saying, like, why are you buying all them clothes? And I'm like,
What else?
I couldn't understand. I'm like, of course I'm buying these clothes because I'm living at home. I'm not paying. I don't have a lot of overheads. I'm young. I'm sexed. Yes, I do look good. I'm young. I'm feeling myself, and I'm out, and I'm happy, and I'm liming. And my friends and I were laughing a lot, and that is how I measure success and joy in my life. How much I'm laughing. If you see a day pass and I'm not laughing, I'll be like, oh, I didn't laugh much today. So you find laughter is important for me. And when I got that child now, there was no laughing.
Yeah.
Because when I wake up in the morning, it's not like now when you're throwing your baby clothes in the washing machine. When I wake up in the morning, you have to wash those baby clothes on your hand. We're using pamper with the poo. So you have to shake that pamper out with the poo and wash that on your hand. Then put it in another water. Then put it in another water with blue. You know, blue? So that the diapers are white on the line. Because the neighbors watching how the diapers look on the line. You remember that? And then my son was allergic to cheap food. So he was using Infamil. Infamil when my son was young was $45 a tin. I don't know how much it is now. Infamil is the only food my son could take. And then, you know, it's my first child, so I only want him to wear Huggies. He could never wear any other pamper but Huggies. And then, you know, we did this. We made some stupid mistakes. The ton load of shoes. The babies don't even wear shoes. Most of you put on the shoe, they take on the shoe, they eat the shoe, they try. Yes. So you know, he's a first child. We're doing all these things, unnecessary things. You know, and it was hard. All the laughter had done. No friends were calling me to go out online because they don't want my child around them to be making a noise and they don't want to have to hold no baby. It's like people forgot me. The circle, my friends, it's like they forgot me. I was no longer cool Sherani. These are the girls who say like, oh, we're not going if Sherani not coming because Sherani is going to be a blast. They never called me. Nobody remembered me. I was there alone. My husband would go to work, come home. I have this little baby crying all night. I started looking haggard. Yes. And that's another thing. People like to say, oh, she just get married. She got the child. Look how she got herself looking old. I was tired. I know. I was so tired. I was so tired. And when I was pregnant, I couldn't stand the smell or the taste of anything. They used to call me cantaloupe at work because I could only eat cantaloupe. Okay. I couldn't eat anything else. If I was cooking, I'd be like this. Cooking so others could eat, but I wouldn't want anything. For a long time, I couldn't eat anything. And let me tell young people something. For the entire 9 months, she spoke about her body. For the entire 9 months of my pregnancy, I was nauseous. I couldn't throw up, but I was nauseous the entire 9 months. I lost the nauseousness when the baby came out of my body. Okay. And we're saying this to you, family, to you, the young people, so you could understand, like, not everybody's experience is the same. So if you're going to do this and you're going to start a family, just take your time, think it through, put your ducks in order, put your ducks in a row. You know, what else can we impact on our family, on these young people? What about the friend thing? Yes. I think it should be stressed that when you get pregnant and have a child, and imagine having a child 16, 17, 18. So you're in the midst of that friend situation. When you have a child, that all disappears. You have no friends at that time. None. For one of two reasons.
you pull yourself away because you need to take care of your children, and they also pull away because I mean I'm young, what I did if Emmy and her child.
Yes.
Alright, not to say that this is what my friends did, but I did lose a
And
lot
then
of friends.
also when you're young and you have a child, the people, your peers, their mother tell them, keep away from Emmy, because you see what she's doing, you keep away from Emmy because she's a bad influence. Even though their child might be having more sex than you.
Might be doing much more.
Must be doing much more. Because the child is only confirmation that you're having sex. A lot of the young people are having sex. But you know, they wearing condoms or whatever.
Yeah, they're smarter than you.
I don't even know if it's smart, but you know, they're doing that. So that's another thing that you have to face. They tell the people, keep away from that child. I remember once told me, oh, you need to keep away from this girl because she's horrible. Let me tell you something. This girl was one of the sweetest persons or people I knew up to a day like today. We were close like this. And my dad had said that somebody tell him she's what they call in saying is a bad girl. Her and I were virgin right through.
Yeah.
Till about 19. She was not doing anything wrong. She was nice, but she was very outgoing.
Yeah.
So she loved to be outside of the house. And she said, "Sheranis, let's go." And my grandmother told him, and he said, "Hey, give Fama cash." And I was like, you couldn't speak back to old people.
Yeah.
You couldn't speak back to elders. You couldn't speak back to adults. But inside of me, I was like, you guys just really don't know her.
You don't understand.
You know, so that pregnancy, getting pregnant young is not a walk in the park. And
and it's not advised.
It's not advised at
all.
Can
I share one of my biggest things?
Yes, please.
Maybe hopefully somebody will feel it, and I think you will feel what I'm about to say. Having sex early and having a child early impacted me so much so that my husband, God bless his heart, we knew each other for about 10 years.
Right.
10 years now, I think. We're married for about 4 years. But
congratulations.
Thank you.
I love marriage. I love love.
I love love too.
I love it. Well, of course you love your go-go. I don't have it, but I love it. I have it for my family, yes.
But when we got engaged, when we were going into that, planning the wedding and all of that,
yes.
You know that one of the biggest things that impressed on my heart, and I don't think he knows that, probably when he sees this
I know exactly what you're going to say.
One of the biggest things that impressed on my heart is that I wish, this is my first marriage, I wish that I could have had that child
within the husband, within that man.
Sex the first time.
To give him your give him your glory.
Yes, on that day. So
yeah.
Like I got a little depressed. I kept that within myself because people don't understand those things.
Yeah, that's very important.
That was the point at which I wanted to share me with that person. This is the person that chose me. This is the person I chose. So I wanted to be able to share me, but I have already given piece of
you have already given a major part of your.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I meant when I said if I knew then what I knew now, I would have waited.
I would have, and I understood that because for me, I probably would have started having sex at 30 because
30.
I mean,
pass the book. Let me get the cup.
Yeah, but I
understand. Right.
I wouldn't have started so early.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it to start having sex that early. It messes up your mental, your physical, your emotional sense of self. Yeah. It's
so much more enjoyable when you actually know what you're doing and understand.
And you understand your body. You're in love with the person. Exactly. That is what makes sex good and important. Yeah.
Because all it is that you're just experimenting. Like he said, do this, or probably I saw this on some books. And just you're not even understanding what you're feeling.
Oh, you have a book, Pastor?
Woo! There are no books.
That's good. Yes.
But it's so much. I mean, being in love as a team, it's a beautiful thing also.
But you want to give it would be nice to give your virtue to your husband, or your wife.
Yes.
You know, and I know we talk. You see us. Listen, I see the one behind the camera. When we say give your virtue to your husband or your wife, he did this. Because with the young people now, y'all don't think like that. You know, they say they don't want to pig in a blanket. They will never marry somebody they're not having sex with. You know, the young people, what we're saying to them is foreign, like, you know, wait, this and that, you know.
You didn't wait.
That's what they would say, you know. Yeah. Oh, you didn't wait. You have your child. You're okay, and you want to stop me. You know, they say you already live your life and you want to come and block mine.
Yeah.
And I always tell my son, there's a reason that God gave children parents, because of the road the path that we've traveled, we have wisdom, we have experience. When we're talking, we might sound like we're annoying you, but we know better.
You've been through it. And another thing that helped me grow is there is this saying, let me make my own mistakes. Please, people, that's the most foolish saying that you could ever hear. I said it for a few times, and one day when I got a little wiser, I don't know, sometimes you wake up and you have a little more wisdom. So one day when I got a little wiser, I sat down and I'm like, but if somebody went through it, like they're telling you not to touch the fire, right? They went through it, they know what it feels like, and they're telling you, do not touch it. Why would you want to feel it? Sometimes your burn could be much worse. You could probably get burnt with oil instead of hot water, right? So it's better to take the advice of people. Not everything is good. Some people will tell you some real stupid things. After I had my daughter, people came with things like, okay, so now you have your daughter, you should marry her father. That's the Christian thing to do. And I was like, why should I marry somebody that I don't understand? I don't.
Boy, Caribbean people again, you know. Caribbean people again.
No, that's not advice. That's advice you throw
But
away.
you know, what happened to me? I finished school 16, 17, like high school, before I started going to the local college. And I didn't even go to the local college full time. I did it in the evening while I worked. And people kept telling me, like, when I got about 18, 19, you're barren, you can't get a child. Because I was with a boyfriend, a guy I was dating. I was with him, I think, in a long-term relationship. And they were like, you're not going to man a child. Yeah. And I remember saying to some people, but I'm not even married. And people would look at me scornfully like, so you have to be married to have a child? Yeah. People used to always say, I have a child, right? You're barren, you can't have no child. Yeah. And a lot of my friends around me, my school friends, they had their children. Some of them I spent time with and really enjoyed spending time. But I also saw how hard it was for them. I knew one girlfriend, and then big woman thing, we're talking big woman thing, I knew one girlfriend, every time she sneezed, she'd pee on herself. Yeah. Every time she sneezed, she pee. No, I didn't get that. Yeah. But that's something she got. And I know another girl, and this is kind of gross, she had to walk everywhere with a spit cup. Pregnancy does all kind of things to you. So you need to, if you can wait.
I think you could always.
We can always wait.
You could always wait. It's like I would say to anybody, sex is a beautiful thing. It's beautiful to enjoy sex.
It's beautiful when you're in love, especially.
When you're in love and when you can understand what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I'm not putting anybody down for wanting to do it differently, but I am saying if you cannot wait, family planning tells you, get advice, seek help. But you can always wait. You can try to wait. You can try to wait. You can try to understand you before you want to understand something that was years before you. It has been there, so it will still be there.
You know something, thank you very much. I understand everything that you have stated. I'm so glad that we came today to share our experiences with our family about teenage pregnancy, about getting pregnant young. And even when you're not young, there's a lot of challenges that comes, the financial obligation, physical, mental, emotional. So if you can wait, young people, wait. And parents, talk to your children. I mean, you agree?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Parents, talk to your children. Have that conversation with them. Because when they're young, they feel like they know everything. Alright, so we thank you again for joining us on another episode of Let's Catch Up with Sherani. We'll see you again real soon. Bye.